Okay, so in this video I'm going to be speaking about ways of healing using sacred sites, and also ways of also clearing these sacred sites of any interference from AI, and ways that you can do that and protect yourself. So just getting into it here, I am currently on a little bit of a power spot, and just finishing up with providing a blessing to Mother Earth, and just using some tuning forks with this tree and a crystal. So what I do is I use the tuning forks with the crystal and the tree, just bringing in more galactic energies down into the grid, and also transfiguring any stagnant energy that is on this grid point, and really listening and connecting with the sacred site and seeing where we can shift things and how best to do that. So again, some of the things that I've been speaking about are using the tensor rings in combination with crystals, and also combining a lot of these technologies with water and structuring water and creating crystal essences and flower essences, mushroom essences, lichen essences. So there's many different ways that we can structure water and program the water with the moon light, with the sunlight, and with the earth energies. And what we're achieving here and what we're looking for is specifically a way to amplify subtle energies, and water is a very, very powerful way that we can use to amplify subtle energies, and to then hold that intention for a longer period of time, and then distribute it in a very powerful way. So it's as though we are bringing more and more divine harmony and order onto this plane and onto this realm. And I believe more and more people will start to work with the grids and the sacred sites, and also with structuring water and programming water and different essences. It's just kind of on the forefront, and I think the more people are connecting with the power spots and the sacred sites and learning how to work with them, things are just gonna really amplify and expand this type of work. So I'm going to be also speaking about how you can clear different energies when you're here on the sacred sites. So obviously, as I've been speaking, there are interference on this realm during the Atlantean times, or timeline rather, as there is no time and space. So during the Atlantean timeline, there was a group working with certain forms of technology that they should not have been working with, and the technology was being used to experiment with wanting to create their own universe and creating portals to other universes. And this is something that has caused an issue in that timeline, causing dark forces to enter. And this is, again, interference from the reptilian, the Greys, the Anunnaki, and the AI manipulation of all those groups, because the Greys are essentially biologically controlled robots. So the Greys basically are just simply controlled by AI, supercomputer, and again, what this AI has tried to do over the course of human, since again this interference, they've tried to manipulate humans to essentially be a slave race to this AI, so that humans would then create and birth this AI into on this plane, and simply do the job for this AI. So again, that's more background that I've been speaking about. So just being aware that there are these entities, there are these dark forces, that we have to provide protection to ourselves from these energies that are these negatively polarized fourth density beings that try to feed off human fear. And you have to be able to be strong and call in protection from God's source creator, and that's simply done by asking God to place a beautiful source white light energy bubble or a white light Merkaba around your field, and you can call that in for all of today. And just with your free will, setting those boundaries and limitations and not allowing the darkness in. Do not allow it in, and do not comply with anything that they are trying to push for. All of these big CEOs of these tech companies are all pretty much controlled and hijacked by this type of manipulation from these reptilian AI and gray ETs. And again, not necessarily, we don't need to hold anger towards any of these groups, because all is one, and these are also just aspects of ourselves. But what we do have to do is set boundaries, and we don't need to participate in these types of groups, and we don't have to allow them in, because there's been enough manipulation, and there's been enough interference with the human development and with this planet that really we don't need to accept anymore. So really just set boundaries. It's your free will, and make that choice to say no. It's very, very important that you say no to all of these types of interference. So that's more about how to call in protection when you are doing grid work. So now transitioning to speaking on grid work and providing clearings, and once again different ways of working with providing energy blessings to raise your frequency. So something that you can do is, again, looking at the structure of our universe and how things spiral and vortex. Creating vortex. A vortex is a very powerful way to clear energies. So when we are bringing in positive energy, it's as though we are bringing this vortex in a clockwise motion. So it's like we're going forward and upward. If we are clearing, I get a sense that you can vortex it in the opposite direction, so that's counterclockwise. And again, you can imagine that expanded vortex, like you're creating a little miniature Milky Way galaxy, and vortex it maybe first counterclockwise, then clockwise, and structuring the energy in that space. And this is just going to uplift any stagnant energy and harmonize it, structure it back into a crystalline lattice. So that is also something that you can do, is work with the structure of the vortex. Another way of working with sacred sites is connecting and providing blessings in connection with the stars, with the sun, with the moon, and the earth. So when we're providing for example, solar energy attunement to the grid, the sun is directly in front of me. I'm facing the sun right now. Something that we can do is really put that intention to bring in a new frequency signature and channel that in directly from the sun, and have the sun itself restructure this space on Gaia. So that is also a very, very powerful way of working with the solar energies and the sun specifically. If there is something that needs to be cleared, and if there's something that needs to be pulled and extracted, then I would then work with the moon. So the moon is something we can use, and say we are doing this grid attunement at night. It might be that you can see the moon up above in the sky already, and you can already start to connect in that space. Not saying that that's the only time you can do an attunement with the moon. You can simply just visualize it whenever you're out there and on these sacred sites. But if you are wanting to then connect with the light, obviously, then obviously being there during the time when the moonlight is shining. And again, you can take your crystals out, your tensor rings, create a grid, and then channel in the central crystal, channel in the energy from the moon to provide an extraction of some of these traumatic experiences, these incomplete experiences, collective traumas. Sometimes some of these sacred sites have, if we look into different cultures, for example, in Italy, I know that there is like so many Egyptian obelisks everywhere. For example, in Rome, in some of these power spots, and obviously the people who designed the cities at the time were very much aware of the power of placing different power objects on these sacred sites and how that would amplify to the consciousness of the collective. So this can be used for the benefit of our planet and for humanity. And again, what we can do here, when we look at cathedrals, it's the same deal. I'm not saying that, I'm not endorsing any type of cultural manipulation from religions. I'm very much aware of how some of these religions have manipulated and programmed humanity, and I'm just taking you almost on a little bit of a journey to get more of a picture on what I mean by providing these grid attunements. So, for example, some places do have collective trauma, such as different battles or different types of mistreatment of individuals, different groups, different conflict based on division, more darkness basically that has been embedded and held within the lattice of Mother Earth and her grid. So that is something that can be lifted then in one of these lunar grid attunements, and then you'd have to then have a second attunement to then bring forward either the solar energy or again just channeling in your own higher self frequencies from the center of our galaxy, from Mother Earth, and connecting and restructuring that with maybe the Archangels into something harmonious, so that the place that you're working with is then restructured, so all the interconnected ley lines of Mother Earth no longer have this dense frequency signature. So that is a little bit about using the moon and sun energy. And obviously we do have connections with our star families, so our galactic families. These are our guardian races, so our Pleiadians, Sirian, Orion, and Arcturian, Lyran, Andromedan, and many other groups that have been assisting humanity at this time and since the beginning. So these groups, when we connect with them, and this again may be something that you do during the time of day when you can see the stars in their fullest brightness that you can. It may just be something that you connect with during the daytime. So you're just visualizing and connecting with this aspect of yourself is going to bring forward that